Good evening, my YouTube viewers. It's Crystal here, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to do a code review for you tonight. And in this code review, what we're going to talk about is the measure of center. But before I go ahead and do the code review, I wanted to give you the definition of the measure of center. A measure of central tendency, also referred to as measure of center or central location, is a summary measure that attempts to describe the whole set of data with a single value that represents the middle or center of its distribution. So that's your measure of center. And what we're going to talk about in statistics, we're going to go over the code in Python, and then we're going to go over the code in R so you can see what you like the best. But the measure of center is going to be composed of the mean, the median, and the mode. And that's what we're going to discuss in this particular video. So we wanted to calculate the mean of how many hours of sleep students get each night. So sleep is a list of numbers. The mean sleep is the sum of sleep over the length of sleep. And you print the mean sleep, and it's like 6.857 hours of sleep that these students average a night. We want to find the weighted average of grades. So you've got your weights, and then you've got your grades, and your weighted grades equals NP average, grades, comma, weights equals weights. You print your weighted grades, and the weights of the grades is 80.6%. You want to find the median of two lists. We have two lists of information. We have to import statistics, which is an inbuilt function in Python, inbuilt library in Python. We print the median of statistics A and the median of statistics B. So the median of statistics A is 6 and the median of statistics B is 7.5. Now we want to find the mode of a list of numbers. So we print mode list, and the mode of the list of number is 7. Now what you want to do is you want to calculate your mean, median, and mode. So we have a list of ages. So the mean age equals sum age over ln age. The mean age is 75.25. The median age is 79.5. And the mode of age is 80. So that's how we did it in Python to measure a center. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at Reflex. And we're going to do exactly the same thing that we did with Python, only we're going to use it in the R programming language. So I've already written the program, and it's exactly the same thing that we did with Python, only we're doing it in the R language. But what we had to do is the module is not an inbuilt function in R, and because it's not an inbuilt function in R, then what we had to do was we had to import a library. So the source is where you're going to import the library, and then we're going to run it. This is telling you all the functions that is in this library. And it says happy analyzing. So we check the sleep. The sleep is 6.85, which was the same as what we had on Python, but you used an inbuilt function in R called mean sleep. Now we're going to check the weights of the grades. which is exactly the same as what we had on Python. So sum grades times weights over sum weights, and you get 80.6, which was the same that we did on Python, only Python had an inbuilt function called averages, NumPy averages. So it wasn't an inbuilt function, it was a NumPy function. Now we find the median. So median is an inbuilt R function. So we find the median of the two values, and so you have 6 and 7.5. And then what we do is we find the mode of the data set. So with mode, this is not an inbuilt function in R, so we had to use this library up here. We had to use this library up here for the inbuilt to create a function. So modal is 7. That's your mode. And now what we're going to do is we're going to calculate the mean, median, and the mode with a list of ages. So you can calculate your mean, your median, and your mode is 75.25, 79.5, and 80. So yep, so that's exactly the same thing that's in Python. So we've done the same thing, but we've used two different languages. We've used Python and we've used R, but I've been using Python for over 2 years now, but I've just now started using R. So I have to say that I'm more familiar with Python. And one thing that I find a little bit disappointing is modal, because mode is not an inbuilt Python function. Because it's not an inbuilt Python function, we had to import a library of functions for modal, and this isn't it isn't like a standard R library. It's a library that we got from kvesaheim.com. So that's one thing that's a little bit disappointing, is it's not a standalone library, open source, that you can use. We had to sort of like get this library from somebody else. And that's, even though with Python, it takes a little bit longer to do it. The libraries that we have in Python are open source libraries, so it's easy to calculate the measure of center. And so I'll go ahead and conclude this video because we've talked about the measure of center. We've calculated the mean, median, and mode using both Python and R, so you can decide which language you like best. I think at this point in time, I like Python better because all of the libraries are open source, and with R, it's difficult. It's the library that we're using is a library that we got from kvesaheim.com, and it's not an open source library that I know of, even though I was able to use it. So I hope you got some meaningful information out of this code review. You now know how to calculate the measure of center in two languages, being Python and R, and you can decide which language you like the best. I know me personally, I like Python the best, but you do have a choice in this video what you like best. So, I would like to thank all of my subscribers for supporting my channel. If you like my video, please like, subscribe, and share. And thank you very much for watching this video.